Hi everyone, we're going to be placing our heater control valve in today, and also we're going to be pulling back some of our harnesses, kind of unraveling them and see if I can route them differently. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the harnesses. I'm going to actually peel some stuff apart and kind of pull it back and see how it's all made and kind of clean things up and maybe route it a different area. For this one, I just want to take the harness apart and kind of see what's there and then kind of decide if I'm brave enough to go further or not. However, this stuff doesn't seem, now that I kind of understand what's going on with everything, it's not that big of a deal. Just before, I didn't have any context to anything, didn't have any parameters, boundaries. Now that I know what's kind of going on, the stuff is, for me, starting to become, I don't want to say trivial, but trivial compared to what I was making it. What's also nice about this stuff compared to the hard stuff is, you know, that just took me a half an hour to wrap that thing over there, which that's absurd. This is so light. I'm not saying it's easy to put, it's easy to take stuff off. It's not easy to put it on, but this stuff seems looks way nicer and goes easier. So everything kind of below the car, I'm putting in the hard plastic if I have it, and everything above the car or somewhat visible, I'm putting in the nice nylon or whatever it's made out of. I'll be honest, this many wires or limbs coming out of this junction just wasn't really taped up that well. Alright, so as you saw, I was able to pull stuff out of the harness, pull it in here, temporarily leave it here, get the car started, see what happens, and then maybe eliminate some of this stuff. But Got the ground wire on the head, comes down, goes down to my remote coils. But I got sheathing on here all the way, soldered the 2 joints with the special heat solder shrink wrap stuff. I always say shrink wrap instead of heat shrink. Got it clipped in, and then it comes up from below in the nice sheathing. So this side, easy. The other side, it's going to be a nightmare. I need to get one more hot cable over to here. I need to get all this cable coming through here, similar like what I did on the other side. I need to get my dryer in here, and there's a bunch of wires off of that. I got this blue wire that's going to the dryer too, and then a bunch of wires that are also coming up to here. And then I got this little clip that I installed here that I'm going to try to have grab all the wires so it holds onto it right there and it's clipped in. So this is going to be a slow process, I think, on this side, but hopefully we just keep going, and life is phenomenal and all is good. All right, so we got our O2 sensor in. Everything's coming through this clip. Then it goes underneath, comes back around. Working pretty good. This is nice. Comes up with the nice braided sheathing. Turns out I had my my wires to the spark plugs actually were not in the correct order. They get a little confusing because it's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like 1, 6, 8, 2, 1. Like it's all jacked up, and so you gotta kind of like, what's going on? So so I finally got those in order, and I could have left them, but I'm like, you know what? Let me do it now before tragedy strikes. So I reordered everything, popped it back in. This is not permanently mounted yet, but it's half mounted. I pulled all that crazy hard plastic stuff off of my alternator wire, and I have a little bit of there that's going to come through just to get through the firewall, and then have a nice braided, which I don't have anymore, so we'll get that off another piece once I relieve something else. And then I'm really happy with this. Got my wire in, got this nice sheathing, got this attached to this so it's all nice and kept down. Comes back around. All my air conditioning wires come out here, which is perfect. Again, I rewired. Well, this was never connected, so I wired this up in order. And, you know, I could pop my dryer in at any time and then pop these wires in. The rest of them loom back, go back into the engine area. And so over here, you can see that we have black, gray, blue coming in. And so, so that's ready to go. And so I can cut those in. But what's really interesting is I'm like, all right, I can start buttoning all this up. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't actually installed this yet. And so I got to really figure out where I'm going to put that relay. And I think it's actually going to go up here. I'm going to coil some wires, go up here, and then come back around and follow this area back up. You know, it's just really difficult in this specific car to get away from the pipes. You know, the pipes are right there, and so I'm going to have to pin everything back and pin everything that's under there. And I still need to run that one hot wire, which I was like, man, should I go there or should I just take it right off the battery? And so I haven't made that decision yet, but I'm kind of at that point to install this and install that hot wire. But I'm really, really happy with everything. It's nicely tucked in. Everything's looking good. And the reason that I'm doing this stuff is, for the most part, everything on the outside here is kind of permanent wiring. And what happens on the inside is a different story. But, you know, is it possible that I have to pull this wire out and, you know, deal with it later to unravel something? Yeah, it might be possible. But, you know, 2 pieces of tape and I got a connector on my compressor to pull apart, so no problem on that. It's all this stuff underneath that I kind of just want to permanently be done with it. And you have the option of running the oxygen sensor on either pipe. Both down pipes have the oxygen sensor. And there's a lot of cable, and the Holley system has even this adapter cable from here to here, which I'd love to eliminate and just have the right adapter, but make it my life's work. So I just tucked it away and ended up going on this side. Originally I was going to put the oxygen sensor on the other side, but there's just no space over there. There's just so much stuff with the air conditioning. So came around this side, and I'm just using up the cable, you know, making a longer path to use up all that extra cable, and it worked out really well. So next step, install this thing and figure out where that hot wire is going, and then see if I even have the clips to actually lock all those wires in. So that would be a good thing, because that's why I don't have the dryer in, because once I put the dryer in, I just can't get my hands in there. So we'll see if we could knock that out. So it's really tight in here, so I can't really film it, but I decided I'm going to put my relay up here, because I noticed that as I try to you know, put my car in jacks and all that stuff, mounting it on the side. I don't want it near this thing either. I'll mount this here, do a loop, and then have my wire run across the bottom and then come up. So I'm going to try to install that right now. Alright, so I got these all locked in, top and bottom. I got the other side locked in. I got this all tied in. It's all bolted in, all good to go. So I need to run my 10 gauge wire back out to here, get onto this thing, and I don't have the circle mounts for 10 gauge and that big. And then I got to get 10 gauge, but hopefully a smaller one, to work on my little block there that's sitting on the floor. So I actually got a huge list of stuff that I got to buy. Sheathing, all sorts of clips, bolts, different things, and clips to hold all these bundles of wires into that little clip that I have on the side of the engine, and the bolt and nuts and everything to like dial that all in. So I'm gonna actually run to the store and get all that stuff, and then keep cracking on this and hopefully get this whole front end kind of finished. And then I'm gonna actually put another hole in this floor panel, just like these with the grommets, and bring in another the last set of wires. So I didn't really see any other options that would be nice enough to make that happen.